What's up, Guardians? Profane here. Thanks for checking out the video. Into the Light has introduced several new Brave weapons, and a lot of them have turned out to be very strong. Almost every single weapon so far has included several top-tier weapon trait combinations that will definitely come in handy when the final shape arrives. And we still have two more weapons to be released, the Blast Furnace and Luna's Howl. But today, I want to talk about one Brave weapon in particular, the Midnight Coup. I was extremely excited about this hand cannon getting revised. Just like the other Brave weapons, it offers a slew of great weapon traits in every single column, and there's a lot of really strong synergy when some of these are combined. The Midnight Coup is a 140 RPM adaptive framed kinetic hand cannon. So at its base, it has great stability, great handling, solid reload speed, and top-of-the-line impact. This thing is an absolute nail driver, and with some of the available third and fourth column traits, you'll find this to be a weapon that will rival the use of the Fatebringer, Warden's Law, and many of the other end-game PvE hand cannons. And keep in mind that 140 hand cannons recently saw a buff against yellow bar enemies. One big advantage that the Midnight Coup has over other weapons in its class is its origin trait, which is primed and ready for the final shape. Getting Final Blows recharges grenade energy whenever using a light-based subclass, but when on a darkness-based subclass like Strand or Stasis, you'll gain bonus melee energy, and that's a total of 5% on each Final Blow, which really creates some nice synergy with most any build. And I'm sure that it will have even better synergy with those prismatic subclasses. I've spent over a week now farming out different combinations of the Midnight Coup, and like I said before, there's a lot of really strong options, and I was fortunate enough to get what I would consider to be the single greatest combination of perks that you could use this season. Before we talk about the third and fourth column traits, let's address barrel, magazine, and masterwork options. This weapon already has great base damage, but it does fall short in range, so we want barrel options that are going to improve that. Hammer forged rifling will increase our range by 10 points, but small bore and corkscrew rifling will increase our range while also improving our handling and stability. The increase in range won't be as much, but the improvement in stability will certainly be felt on those longer shots. We've got a base magazine size of 12 rounds. We do have magazine options like appended mag or even tactical mag that will increase our magazine size, but flared magwell is going to give a significant increase to our reload speed, which I think will be far more beneficial. And if you can also get a reload masterwork, you'd see that 56 reload speed jump up to 81, which would bring that reload time down from 2.82 seconds to 2.11, something you could improve upon even further with a reload mod on your gloves or certain third and fourth column traits. In its third column, Midnight Coup offers explosive payload, which is a great trait. You're sacrificing precision damage, but you're getting an increase in overall damage by around 15%, and that's going to stack right along with any of the fourth column damage perks. Explosive payload pairs up really nicely with kinetic tremors. My only problem with kinetic tremors is that it requires you to hit the same target before getting that area damage to trigger. Rank and file enemies are always dead before that happens, so it's only going to really be a benefit when you're going up against big, beefy enemies. Explosive payload will easily trigger the benefits of One for All, which is going to give us a 35% bonus in damage after striking 3 enemies. This is, in my opinion, the best fourth column damage perk because it doesn't require you to defeat an enemy, but merely hit 3 separate ones. It's a 10-second damage bonus that can be instantly reactivated after its timer runs out, so it's a really easy damage perk to use and to maintain. Rampage and Frenzy are also available options, and even though it's not as much of a damage bonus, Frenzy is another really easy damage trait to maintain, giving you a 15% bonus after being in combat for at least 12 seconds. Desperate Measures is also an available damage perk that's going to give you upwards of a 30% bonus in damage. since Indomitability is already improving your grenade and melee regeneration. Desperate Measures will be a great option when using a build that focuses heavily around the use of those abilities. I still find One for All to be a much more reliable option, but Desperate Measures will certainly be a great trait to have going into the final shape. So, Explosive Payload. Like I said before, it's a great third column trait, but it's not the best option in my opinion, at least not right now in Season of the Wish. Instead, we have Firefly. This causes an elemental explosion that damages nearby enemies whenever getting precision final blows. You'll also have a 6-second bonus in reload speed after each precision final blow, granting a bonus of 50 points to its reload speed. What's most interesting about Firefly is that its elemental explosions count as a solar explosion, which means that it can trigger certain solar verbiages. And the one that we're most interested in is Flint Striker, a seasonal artifact mod that grants radiance whenever rapidly defeating enemies with solar weapons or solar abilities, which does include Firefly, as long as you're able to get multiple enemies caught within its detonation, which would give your weapons the ability to pierce barrier champion shields while also getting a 20% increase in damage, even if you're not using a solar build. And that 20% bonus in damage will stack on top of any fourth column damage perk. So with One for All, we would be looking at a 55% increase in damage whenever we are Radiant. If we also add in the Torch artifact mod, we would gain an additional 5% weapon damage against enemies who are debuffed by strand or stasis effects whenever we are Radiant. If we were to use the Midnight Coup on a stasis build, we could then utilize the Whisper of Rending, which would give us a 50% increase in primary weapon damage against any frozen target, giving us up to a 110% bonus in weapon damage when One for All is active, while we are Radiant, and when against frozen enemies. And that's not accounting for any weapon surge mods that we might be using, which could give us upwards of a 22% increase that's still going to stack onto everything else. When we do use the Midnight Coup with a stasis build, that's when we start seeing even more absurd synergy, because we have seasonal artifact mods like Dragon's Bite, which can cause targets to become frozen whenever we break their shields with stasis weapons. Pillar of Ice, which creates crystals when defeating frozen enemies, and Hail the Storm, which causes frozen enemies and crystals to create additional shatter damage. Enemies who shatter will create 12.5% bonus shatter damage, while crystals will cause 28.6% extra damage. So there's a lot of benefits in using the Midnight Coup with Firefly and One for All in combination with these artifact mods, along with a stasis build. But even if you don't go with stasis, you're still benefiting from having Radiance. Regardless of what subclass we are using, energy weapons with Disruption Break would provide us with another source of increased primary damage, as this would give us 50% bonus kinetic damage after breaking an opponent's shield with a matching energy type. This would last 5.5 seconds, and it could be instantly re-triggered as long as there are enemies with shields still standing. And we can't leave out the fact that we could still slot in a boss or minor spec mod to give this a 7% damage bonus against those enemy types. If you've been on the fence on whether or not you should invest the time into getting the Midnight Coup, well, you most certainly should. It's more than worth it. It's an immensely powerful weapon to use right now, and it will continue to be when the final shape arrives. But you'll only be able to get the limited edition versions now in Season of the Wish. And with that being said, I wish you all the best of luck throughout your journeys in Onslaught. Let me know how they've been going and what weapons you're most excited for, and what your thoughts on the Midnight Coup are. Let us know down in the comments below. Thank you as always for checking out the video. If you enjoyed and found it helpful, then be sure to hit that like button below, along with the subscribe button if you're new. Both are greatly appreciated, and both really do help support the channel. If you're a new Light Guardian, just starting your journey, or a battle-hardened veteran, just looking for a new home, then be sure to check out the Discord link in the description below, and join one of the greatest communities in all of Destiny. And until next time, Guardians, this has been Profane, wishing you all some happy hunting.